Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So I'm on the mountain with the HUBSAN Spyhawk H301S. You may have seen the first initial review where I did an in-depth flight test, unboxing, inspection, and everything on this up here. But I haven't done a full-on range test yet. And I was using a stock battery in the first video. So in this one I'm using a HUBSAN H301S 2700 quadcopter battery. So we're going to see if we get maybe more flight time, see what the flight characteristics are. And I'm just going to go straight out this way. I'm going to try to keep, within 400 feet of ground level, even though the mountain kind of drops here. And we're just going to see how far we can get. I'll be checking on the FPV here on the controller, but I'm also going to be slapping these on my face, these Amway FPV antenna goggles, FPV goggles here. I do have the card in here, so I'll be able to record these goggles so you can see what I'm seeing from time to time. I'm not going to be able to really record the video on here, the screen on here, because this doesn't have any way to really record it. I don't think this TF card slot isn't working in this controller. It's just an open port. But I will be recording. This does 1080p through the FPV camera. So it's a high definition camera on board. I do have a card in here, so I'll record this and have all those videos up on the screen for you. See how this thing's doing. So let's see how far we can get and just see how it performs. And then afterwards, once we do our range test, I'll probably just do some manual mode flying. I don't think I did the manual mode acrobatics in the first video. I have a couple more batteries, so we'll go ahead and try to squeeze that in this video as well. So let's get all this stuff started up and see how far we can get. Throttle on, we have our propeller going, so we want to launch. Whoa, looks like we have a paraglider there, so we're gonna have to definitely wait for them to get out of the way. Don't want to run into them. So definitely a good idea to make sure wherever you're flying to make sure nobody's around. Usually these guys fly early in the morning when there's really no wind, but looks like this guy's going for it. So I'm going to be flying right in that direction. So I'm going to wait a little bit, make sure he's way down the hill there before I go ahead and start flying. And then also check if there's anybody else with them that's going to be coming down. So we'll have to pause this just for a moment. Okay, so we're back in business. He basically just kind of went around and hovered there for a while in the breeze and just landed all the way down at the bottom of the hill there. And it doesn't look like there's anybody else on their way down. So looks like a good time to go for it. So recording on the craft. Let's try this again. So I'm going to slap on the goggles once I'm kind of up and going that direction. Cool. So we're in stability mode and we just want to give it some throttle and launch into the wind. There we go. Easy. It's doing really good. So I'm right about half throttle. And I'm just gonna kind of be about half throttle for a while and be checking out the screen here. I'm going to slap on the goggles and stay going in that direction and see how far we can get. Okay. Maybe I'll just look at the screen for just a bit, see how the FPV is doing. It does seem to be tracking pretty straight. Just going to give it a little bit of aileron to the left. Well, that's pretty good. So with this kind of little bit of breeze and facing into the wind, it's tracking pretty darn straight. It looks like the video on the controller FPV is getting a little grainy, a little fuzzy, and we're 560 meters we can see away from us. Cool. So I don't want to get too high. It's saying we're 100 and 15 meters away, or height. So I want to try to stay under 400 feet here, because the mountain does kind of slope down a little bit. So going ahead, and I'm going to slap on these goggles. That looks like a pretty good direction to go. So let me slap on these goggles real quick. See what we can see. Can't do it with the glasses on, that's for sure. Cool. So starting to get a bit fuzzy. Go ahead and go to the right. I don't want to go, oh yeah, we're good actually. I don't want to go directly into the mountain. There we go. So I got a pretty clear view on the goggles when I went ahead and put them on and lifted my head up. Pretty clear view. I'll have that recording on the screen for you guys so you can see that. And yeah, there we go. I just turned my head to the right a little bit and it got really nice and clear. The one thing I wish is we could see on the FPV what was going on in the goggles, but I can't see anything. Cool, so we're looking good. To look at the screen to see our distance, I have to go down here. And we're at 1,400 feet. And the video on the actual screen is kind of like going in and out. You have to hold it really in the perfect direction to get it any kind of clarity. And you can see in the goggles it's kind of dropping in and out just a little bit. Let's go to the left a little. I don't want to go too far to the right. Go downhill. So my goggles are losing signal almost completely. So the goggles have pretty much just lost signal at just about a mile. But actually, interestingly enough, the FPV here on the controller, if I hold it just right, is really grainy, but it's better than the goggles. Oh, there we go. The goggles just came in. So I'll have the goggles up on the screen so you can just see. There's some clouds there. Let's try to go through these clouds while we're at it. Cool. So I'm still at like not even half throttle, guys, so still doing really good. Kind of lost all, there we go. So FPV's back. So probably, whoa, okay, we turned to the right a little bit. Is that because we're losing signal? I think it might have gone into return to home. Yeah, I think it did. So let's see how far we are. So right at a mile, 2,300. 2,400 feet. Just over a mile. It's starting to return home. Let me see if I can take manual control. There we go. I just went to the left and the FPV got in a lot better. So probably the best thing to do on this craft is maybe to put like a some kind of a circular polarized antenna for FPV, maybe, if you want to go really far, because this is just linear monopole and I'm hitting a brick wall like right around 2,500 feet with all the stock FPV and control and stuff. There we go. Now I can see the FPV. I'm just kind of doing a circle and trying to get back to the direction of the ocean over there. Wow, it's really neat up here though. Again, I'm just kind of right at half throttle, a little less than half throttle, just so it doesn't go super too high. And it looks like that's our range. There we go. Spotty control. In and out of control here. Let's see what it shows on the screen. Yeah, right at 2,450 feet. 2,450 feet about. And what happened is it went into a return to home. You might not be able to see it on the screen, but it says GPS RTL mode on the controller here. And what's cool about this is you can actually control it. Any input you put into the plane, it will actually move the plane around here. Watch, I'm going to put some rudder to the left in. You see that? So you can move it around while it's in RTL mode, which is cool. And then when you let off, it just keeps returning home. So that was way cool. Let's see what our battery power is like. So RX is 7.1, and this is a 2-cell, so we still got plenty of power, but I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to let it kind of fly home. And with this one, it's cool because even if you throttle all the way off when it isn't returned to home, it does maintain its enough power to keep at a certain height, to keep that level altitude. You can try to come down a bit. Let's see what it says here. So I'm pushing full elevator forward, and it went down a little bit and then it stopped. It wouldn't let me go down anymore. So it tries to maintain that level of altitude when it is doing an RTL. So that's cool. What I would recommend is maybe keep your throttle at halfway or a little less, even when you're in an RTL, just in case something happens, you know. If it cuts out of your RTL, you don't want to be totally off the throttle. So I'm leaving the throttle at just under 50%. And the FPV in the goggles with these stock Amway antennas isn't that great out at this range. I thought it was going to be a little bit better, honestly. It may have been because I was looking down. Now that I have my head up, it's actually much clearer. Cool. So let's see what it does. I'm just going to kind of let it glide here. I don't want to go up above the clouds because I want to see some picture. So let's try to get out of RTL mode. There we go. So to get out of RTL, you got to flip the switch up and down all the way to the left. So we're back in stability mode, and I'm going to drop some altitude. So I'm pushing elevator all the way up and dropping some altitude here. That's where I am there in that patch of green. I'm just trying to stay as straight as possible. I think I'm a little too high, so I want to come down. And it's not dropping very fast. It's maybe dropping maybe 1 meter per second, actually, depending. So coming on down, I want to get down, and then I'm going to just kind of do a return to home and see what it does when we just let her go. Of course, throttling all the way off. Let me try that. And just kind of gliding will definitely drop you down further. So now we're going really quick down. We're going at like 2 to 3 meters per second. That's pretty awesome. So we are at, okay, now we're under 400. And let's just let off. We're just gliding here. Full on glide. And we're in stability mode. I'm going to flip the left switch all the way up to GPS RTL. And let's see what it does. So I can hear it over there to my right. It went ahead and gave itself some throttle. And I have the throttle all the way off, and it actually is staying right at 100 meters. Well, that's good to know. Just going to give it maybe half throttle. Let's see what it does. Okay. So now it's saying home stability mode. So let's see what it does here. So it went ahead and gave me back control. You can hear the throttle there. Okay. And if I don't touch the controls, I want to see what it does. Definitely don't want to hit these trees. So I'm going to give it a little more throttle. Pull up a little bit. Okay, so I'd recommend if you are in RTL and then it gets to its home point, go ahead and take over. I wouldn't really trust it to keep going where you want it to go. So I'd recommend doing that. All right, well, let's see what our voltage is. 6.9. Whoa, it just took a dive there. Interesting. So the breeze is going to influence it. I'm going to throttle down a bit. And I want to switch into manual mode. So to switch into manual mode, there we go. Or actually, you're just pressing it once, it seemed like. So I'm in manual mode now. So I should be able to do flips and stuff. Okay, so I want to be careful because I do have a heavier battery. And again, guys, I will have this up on the screen. That's my car there, that silver car there, right down there, you can see it. And let's try like a roll or something. I'll get a little bit more speed. Full throttle, and I'm gonna cut it and then roll to the right. Woo! Okay, so you can do rolls. Probably really not gonna be able to do a loop. It feels like really heavy with this battery to do acrobatics. And I don't want the battery to just die on me. We're still at 6.9 volts. As long as I kind of hang out here and then try to do some acrobatics, we should be okay. So I still got the goggles on, and you'll just be able to see the camera, the HD camera on the craft and what's in my goggles. Okay, so let's just try like a loop. And probably what I'm going to want to do is full throttle go down and then elevator completely back. So full throttle down, elevator completely back. Oh no, we can't quite do a loop just because the front end's so heavy with that battery. Maybe if I actually went wow, yeah, so remember we're in manual mode, so we're not quite as stable. So down, let's gain some speed, full pitch up. And so, okay, so we can kind of do some loop. We just got to gain some downward speed. Let's try that again. So we'll try to face it down towards the ground. Full throttle. Full elevator back, and I'm dropping throttle. Try a double. Nope, can't quite do a double. That sure was awesome though. Let's try to do a little bit more rolling. Okay, so going this way. And we're going to do a right roll. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elevator to the, or aileron to the left, and then I'm going to aileron to the right, get some momentum. So left, right. Ooh. Okay, so it barely wants to do a roll. It's just a little heavy for it. A little tough on the rolls. And maybe it's because I'm not in a higher rate. I kind of forget what this one has higher rates of flight. So I want to get out of manual mode, so I'm going to hit this exit button again. And it's saying GPS RTL mode. So we'll let it do it. GPS RTL, I guess. Maybe the battery's getting low enough so it wants to get there. Manual and GPS RTL, that's the only two modes I can go into. Interesting. Okay. So there we go. So I click down on the stick again, and now we're in stability. I guess it's close enough maybe. So maybe this thing, I'm not sure, but I think this plane might have a low battery RTL. You see how it wasn't letting me go out of RTL when I was clicking it off and on until it got close enough. So that's a good feature. And you know, I am at back up to 7 volts. So I'm just gonna fly this. Gosh, we've been flying for, what is it, 17 minutes about, guys? 18 minutes. That's what the recording says. No, the recording says 17 minutes. The plane's been on for 19. Okay. Good to know. Moving my head around here just because I'm getting some scratchy FPV. But what a joy to fly. Let me go ahead and circle around here so we're a little bit closer to us, just in case the battery's dying. Okay. So I'm just popping my goggles up and looking at the screen here. Okay, so it's just the trim. So yeah, sorry about that. I completely forget if this thing even has different rates, so I'm not going to mess with it anymore. This is fine. Just cruising around in stability, self-leveling mode. And you can see that FPV gets really scratchy unless we go ahead and turn towards it. Got throttle below half now. Just cruising. Everything's still recording. Full pitch down. Let's do a little bit of a buzz. So I just turned towards the plane. You can see how great the FPV got. Totally gliding here. I can't see where my camera's pointing, but I'm going to try to get it flying over. Awesome. Turning back the other way. Oh man. Really liking this craft. Some people say they have problems, but they either don't know how to like calibrate it or fly it right, or they just got a defect, because I'm really having a blast with this thing. So I'm going to keep full pitch, full elevator forward and just use my rudder to the right. You can see how we can make a little bit more of a controllable turn, slower turn. Now I'm just using rudder, and I'm going to give it a little bit more throttle. Go. Don't want to hit this. Don't want to hit the side of the mountain. Okay, so I'm just barely full throttle up, and then I'm just barely pulling in some elevator. Nice. Wow. A little flyby. Woohoo! Sweet. So be careful when you're coming with the wind. You are not going to gain much altitude. Now I'm going against the wind here. And I want to turn in directly into the wind. Is it trying to do an RTO? Yeah, so I think the battery is too low, so it's RTLing. Just trying to return home. So even if I go out, it just turns. Still at 6.9%. I'm just going to cruise around here. Awesome. Just going to stay close. That's great though. It doesn't let you go too far out when the battery's getting low. Really like that feature. We'll just keep flying it until it dies. That way we know our full flight ability with this thing. Last time I did that though, I kind of crashed and cracked it, but it's back up in the air with some of that Gorilla foaming glue. Flying perfectly fine. Cool. Just cruising around. Don't want to get too far since the battery might be a little low. back into the wind and just check this screen real quick. Stability mode, into the wind. You see that? So it just turned to GPS RTL and I can't switch out of it. So that's cool. Awesome. It totally has a low battery RTL. I like it. Still flying, guys, at 23 minutes. Ooh, this is awesome. Real cool. I think maybe I'll just fly around until it dies like the last time. And so you can see how long this HUBSAN H301S quadcopter battery lasts for. This is 2700 milliamp hour and the stock one, remember, was only 18. I think it was 18. Yeah. Coming in. Sweet. Still got the power. Looks like a lot of cars are coming in to this spot. Better not crash on them. And just gonna kind of try to like buzz a little bit. Woohoo! So I think if you get this plane, guys, you're really gonna like it because it's got all those GPS failsafe features. You can't go wrong with this thing. Of course, landing it is another story. Because if you don't know how to land it, then you might crash. Oh, back into the wind here. Wow, so 25 minutes flying. And 7.2 on the RX. Oh my goodness, let's just keep going. So it's RTLing when it gets a certain distance, returning to home, but I was assuming that was battery power, but it still seems like it has a lot of battery power. Unless it's just maybe dipping below. Whoa. See how I was full throttle, and if you're going with the wind, it just totally drops altitude, even though I was elevator all the way up. Looks like a crew's coming in, so I'm probably going to want to finish this up pretty soon. But I want to do this battery test. Whoa, somebody's going to have a party. Whoa. See that wind hit the side of it? Kind of rolls a little bit. Definitely a crew coming in here. It's gonna be a pate. Saturday night pate. I think it's around 3 to 4 p.m. right now, so. Still going strong, 27 minutes, 28 minutes. I'm gonna have to do some surveillance. I know my trunk's open. Let's check out what's going on. Woo! Sweet. Still going strong. Flying forever.
I got it.
Woohoo! This is awesome. A little bit of throttle when I'm turning here. Cutting off throttle a little bit. Getting close.
Okay. They want to play fly.
I can hear you guys, but I can't see you. I'm in the cockpit of the plane right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like. Uh-oh. Don't come up. Okay. So, Meredith. Do you remember me? I want to go down. You do?
Whoa.
Oh, let's go get it.
Don't want to lose it. Coming with the wind now. Oh. Just turn into the wind here. See if these lights are flashing. Oh, I can't see. Can't see if the lights are flashing. 30 minutes of flight time. 2700 milliamp hour. HUBSAN H301S battery. And let's see really quick. Still at 7.2 volts with a little bit less than half throttle on the plane. Unbelievable. I'm just gonna keep on going. Whoa. Awesome. Woohoo. That was throttle all the way off there. Still all the way off. Okay, going completely with the wind. Let's turn it. Little throttle. Oh. Ooh, just gliding now. Full throttle off. Right into the wind. Nice. Little throttle back on. So this is probably going to be a long and boring video, guys, but just want to get this length of this flight. Beautiful. I hope the high definition video is probably looking really good. You guys can kind of see that.
Yeah, we went through where you guys went, like that.
Awesome.
Up through all the way down.
So it does a pretty good job at kind of pointing itself into the wind when you let off the rudder and the aileron. That's awesome. Just coasting. Full throttle off.
Yeah. Somewhere there, you know.
Whoa! Oh, I hit the ground. Oh! There's a little crash. Alright, let's go check it out, see if we have any damage. Alright, cool. So just walking up on it here. And it looks like our little cockpit window flew off. But we just got a little bit of dirt and grass here in the crack of the nose cone. And that was it. So that's what happens when you're, going with the wind and you try to turn hard. You gotta have a little more elevation. So nothing's broken. There's our video. It looks like Did the card pop out? Gosh, I hope that recorded. I don't see the record light on anymore, but I think I turned it off from the controller. Cool, let me get this back to home base and see how it is. Doesn't look like the same spot broke again with that hard hit. This last time in my first part of the review, this cracked. It seems solid still. Cool guys, back over here by the car, and I have to say, really continually impressed with the HUBSAN Spyhawk. It's proving to be an awesome plane with those GPS features. It'll get you home no matter what. I want to say I was, what was I, about a mile and a half out there? I think around there, almost, maybe not a mile and a half, maybe pretty close, just after a mile. And then it would return to home. The FPV was getting a little scratchy, so probably putting some better antennas on here and maybe modding this and giving it a circular polarized antenna would give you more distance as well. But that's plenty, man. What a joy to fly. I think we flew for like 32, 33 minutes. The plane's been on for like 39 minutes. And everything looks good. No damage. Wonderful craft, great flight. I will have the links again down in the description for this guy, where you can buy it and enjoy this plane flight with smart functions. Awesome, loving it, with the built-in FPV screen. And then you can also tap in with your own goggles, but you don't get the telemetry on your goggles. That's the only thing. Anyway guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed this.
Very cool.
Hey, what's happening?
How's it going?
Good. Just finishing up.
I know. I hear. Like I hear. So I think he's recording this.
Yeah.
Hold on for a second.
This one's pretty fun, man. It's got like GPS in it.
It's pretty slick.